The air at Wembley Stadium was thick with anticipation, a nervous energy crackling under the cloudy London sky. It was July 13th, 1985, and for the Queen of England, the day was marked with the usual pomp and circumstance. But for the world, it was the day of Live Aid, a global concert to fight famine in Ethiopia. The biggest rock and roll party the world had ever seen, all for a cause. The lineup was a who's who of music royalty, a parade of legends from around the globe. But as the day wore on, a certain restlessness set in. The sound was off. The crowd felt distant, disjointed. The magic wasn't quite there. The day had already seen incredible performances. U2 had played Bad, and Bono had jumped into the crowd, a moment of pure, unscripted connection. David Bowie had been magnificent. Elton John, a dear friend of Freddie's, had delivered a stellar set. But somehow the collective energy felt like a series of disconnected moments rather than a single unified force. The pressure was on. The clock was ticking. The world was watching. Millions upon millions tuning in from every corner of the planet. And then, at 6:41 p.m., the stage lights dimmed and the roar of the crowd shifted. The announcer's voice boomed through the stadium speakers, a deep, resonant tone that cut through the chatter. "Ladies and gentlemen, Queen!" The crowd erupted, a wave of sound that seemed to shake the very foundations of Wembley. But the Queen, Freddie Mercury, Brian May, Roger Taylor, and John Deacon, they walked onto a stage that felt different. Their slot was just 20 minutes, a cruel, almost insulting amount of time for a band of their stature. Just 6 songs, not even half a full show, and the pressure was immense. They were at a crossroads. Some critics had written them off. Their last couple of albums hadn't been as universally acclaimed as their earlier work, and now they were back on the biggest stage of all, with a limited time to prove they still had it. Freddie Mercury, in his classic white vest and light blue jeans, strode to the microphone. He looked out at the sea of faces, 72,000 people packed into the stadium, a human mosaic stretching as far as the eye could see. He looked not just at the crowd, but into it. He saw the doubt, the anticipation, the tired faces from a long day of music. He knew what he had to do. He had to remind them why they were there. He had to remind the world why he was Freddie Mercury. The opening chords of Bohemian Rhapsody filled the stadium. The grand piano, played by Freddie himself, was a familiar friend. The song, a theatrical masterpiece, was a bold choice to open with, a 6-minute epic that demanded attention. And the crowd gave it, every single person. They were singing along, every word a unified choir. When the operatic section hit, Freddie stepped away from the piano, his body a conduit for the music. He was the maestro, conducting an invisible orchestra, his hand movements precise and dramatic. The song ended, and the cheers were deafening. But that was just the appetizer. Next came Radio Gaga. The electronic drum intro and synth bass line pulsed through the speakers, a heartbeat for the colossal crowd. Freddie, standing with one arm raised high, began to clap. A slow, deliberate, rhythmic clap, and the crowd, as one, followed. The sound was unbelievable.
clap, 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 clap. The entire stadium, a single organism clapping in time. It wasn't just a song. It was a ritual. It was a communion between the stage and the audience. And in that moment, Freddie wasn't just a performer. He was a leader. He was the one guiding the collective soul of Wembley. He was commanding them, not with force, but with pure, unadulterated charisma. As the song reached its peak, he raised his fist in the air, a gesture of solidarity, of triumph. He was feeding off the energy, and in turn, he was amplifying it, reflecting it back 100-fold. This wasn't a concert anymore. It was a conversation. After Radio Gaga came Hammer to Fall, a high-octane rock anthem that sent a jolt of pure adrenaline through the crowd. Brian May's guitarist screamed, a raw, powerful sound that cut through the stadium. Freddie, now fully in his element, was a whirlwind of motion, a dervish of energy, sprinting from one side of the stage to the other, punching the air, singing with a ferocity that was breathtaking to behold. Then he did it. The moment that would be immortalized forever. The moment that solidified his status as a living legend. He put down the mic stand. The music stopped. There was a pause. The crowd was a little unsure, a murmur rippling through the masses. And then Freddie raised his arm and began to sing. A simple four-note melody. Day-o! The crowd responded, a hesitant day-o at first. Freddie sang again, louder this time. Day-o, day-o! The response was stronger. He continued, a playful call and response that built in intensity with each repetition. He was a conductor, a master manipulator of the crowd's energy, drawing them in, pushing them further. He was not singing to them. He was singing with them. This wasn't a performance. It was a moment of absolute connection. He was taking 72,000 strangers and turning them into a single, cohesive entity. The stadium was now a pulsating, living thing. They were under his spell. He had them. He had all of them. He was in complete control. And he was doing it with nothing but his voice and a simple musical phrase. The sheer power of that moment, the way he effortlessly commanded the attention and participation of such a massive crowd, was nothing short of miraculous. The band launched into Crazy Little Thing Called Love. The rhythm was infectious, a rockabilly groove that had the whole stadium swaying and singing along. Freddie was dancing, a loose-limbed, joyful expression of pure bliss. He was loving every second of this. He was alive, and he was making everyone around him feel alive too. And then, for the grand finale, they hit We Are the Champions. The song, a universal anthem of triumph, was the perfect closer. The piano intro, the soaring vocals, the stadium-wide chorus. Everyone sang along, not just the people in the stadium, but the millions at home. It was a moment of shared victory, of shared hope. When the music faded and the band walked off the stage, there was an air of stunned silence, a collective holding of breath. Then the roar returned, louder than before, a standing ovation that lasted for minutes. They had done it. In a mere 20 minutes, Queen had stolen the show. They had taken a disparate, tired crowd and unified them, electrified them. They had turned the entire Live Aid experience on its head.
Freddie Mercury's performance that day was more than just a musical set. It was a masterclass in stage presence, a testament to his unparalleled charisma. He didn't just sing songs, he wove a spell. He didn't just entertain, he connected on a fundamental human level. The world had tuned in for a good cause, but they left with a new understanding of what it meant to be a rock and roll frontman, and what it meant to be Freddie Mercury. He had taken a moment of doubt and turned it into a moment of pure, unassailable triumph, all for a cause he believed in. He proved that sometimes the greatest acts of kindness and human connection are done on the world's biggest stages, with a microphone and a heart full of soul. If you loved this story about the King of Live Aid, be sure to hit the like button. What's your favorite Queen song? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more legendary tales about Freddie Mercury and Queen.